All right, guys. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, really, too. I never know if it's morning or afternoon, but that's okay. Thank you guys for being on. I was having a little issue with my audio, so just starting a couple minutes late. But happy Thursday. My days have been off this week for some reason. I don't know if you guys have or not. Hi, Michelle. I haven't seen you in forever. Well, kind of, but still a little bit. I feel like I never get to see you anymore. Happy Thursday. All right, guys, I'm going to get started. We are recording. Oh, we got Josh Dawson on. We got Matt Martin on. We got Karen, Stephanie. I'm loving it.
I'm gonna eat and then I'll come back, but I'm listening.
You're fine. That's exactly how I am, Josh. That's exactly what I do. Also, I'm actually in the middle of getting certified to teach to be a fierce conversations instructor. And I was eating, let's see, when was that? Maybe 2 weeks ago. I was eating while I was doing my training because some of them are 4 hours a day. And the instructor messaged me and said, people have asked if you would turn, first of all, they said, please keep your cameras on. So I was like, okay. So I was just eating like a salad or something. And she private messaged me and said, people are saying it's distracting that you're eating. Can you stop or turn off your camera? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, clearly these people aren't on Zoom very much like we
Very,
are.
very fierce of them.
Very fierce of them. That's exactly right. I was like, I need to use what I'm learning to draft a great response back to you right now. Okay, guys, we are going to have our first industry update of the year. And let me start my little slideshow here. Okay, can you guys see it? Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So in full transparency, I had all of this done. And then I went to Jason Abrams, which I know a couple of you were there also. And then I was like, well, I'm redoing 75% of it now. So I tried to squeeze in a lot. So I'm gonna like high level hit some of the things, and then Karen, yes, totally agree. Thank you for having my back. I'm gonna try to hit some of the high level things, and then we will and then we'll run through. So for those of you that have not been on an industry update in the past, you are here to gain perspective and knowledge and power, because we are moving definitely into a more balanced market. I kind of hate the word shift, but it is really, I guess, a shift. I mean, that's what the book's called, so that's probably what we should call it. However, the market share that you lose in a shift, you typically never get back, and what you gain in a shift, you keep forever, right? So that's why you're here. And so today I'm going to be giving you guys 5 predictions. However, I thought this was really funny, and so I wanted to share this with you first. And actually, Josh Dawson will appreciate this because he actually kind of got Instagram, social media famous for commenting on this. But I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but if real estate companies kept it real with their headlines. So don't you guys like turn me in or anything for sharing these, but they're hilarious. So I had to. Redfin, people love using our app. Our agents, not so much. Open Door, we make it really easy to get a really bad offer, which is hilarious. Trulia, we also can't believe that we're still around, which I think is so funny. And then realtor.com, Zillow, but for boomers, which I also think is so funny because actually I used to search on realtor.com, and I'm not a boomer, but I did find their site easier to use. So I thought that I know they're so funny. So I thought that we would start. I always like to start with something funny. So thought that we would do that. But here are your 5 predictions. And I just kind of came up with these. So they're just kind of ones that after a lot of studying, a lot of research, that I truly feel like will really be what we'll stick to. So the first one is, and this is the one that's not fun, yet it's true. 2023 will be hard, and we will definitely be back more towards a skill-based market, which we've talked about. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to be lead generation focused. And with that one, I just was remembering when I had a one-on-one with Gary, which I know I've talked about on here before with Gary Keller, and he said 2023 won't be the year that you'll make money, so you just need to understand that. But it will be the year that you will get all of your good habits in place. You'll start all the things that you used to start that you don't do anymore, so that when we have a strong comeback in 2024, you will actually be prepared to really dominate and to make more money then. So I keep really trying to focus on that and just thinking that as we go through. So prediction number one is we're gonna feel like it's harder this year. Um, will you put in the chat, just because I'm curious, if you yes or no, were you in the business during the last kind of recession? So 07, 08, 09 time frame. Just curious to see on that. Yeah, couple of yeah, most people know. Yeah, so might just be me, Steph, and Matt Martin. Tanja, okay, yeah. Oh, Angel, okay, yeah. So because of that, a lot of us will not know what it's like. A lot of you will not know what it's like to work through that, and it's definitely a different market. I wanted to share this with you, and this is something that Gary shared a lot. But in case you aren't good with animals, these are buffaloes. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not. I actually did not know this, and I learned this from Gary in a mastermind. But buffaloes actually are very different than any other animal that's like a farm animal. So take like a cow, for example. Anytime a storm is coming head on, buffaloes actually can sense the direction that the storm is coming, and they actually run straight into the storm. They don't try. Cows can do the same thing, only they run the opposite direction. So buffalo actually charge the storm, and that it's like this is like a real thing. Some of you may have seen this on some KW t-shirts, but this is actually a real thing. And this is what Gary actually, this is how he explained it to us last year. He said, "You guys, I know this is not a great analogy. However, I need you to be the buffalo. Like you're going to have to charge the storm in 2023. You're going to have to go head on, head first, right into it." And not be the cow that runs away. Because if you think about it, what happens? The buffalo goes into it while the storm is moving, right? The buffalo is going into it. And so then it's over for them quick. The cow is running away from it. So the storm is chasing them. So they're in it the whole time. Like they never get rid of it because as they're going one way, the storm's following that way and they're just stuck in it. And so while that might be kind of a weird analogy, I love it. I think it's awesome because going into 2023, yes, it does. Thank you, Maria said that makes so much sense. Going into 2023, like we're going to have to beat the buffalo. We are going to have to go head on, head first, straight into it and do the things that we need to do in order to take market share. We can't just run away from it and do the things that we have been, or we're really going to feel it in 2023. I shared this last time and I got this straight from Gary and I wanted to share it again. He really deemed 2023 as the year of uncertainty. Top agents won't know what their money buys them anymore, meaning most agents are going to have to get back out. They're going to have to talk to people again. We're going to talk about that today. They're going to have to find out what math will work, how many clients they need to talk to make the deals work again, to make the money that they need to make. They have to refigure out the math on everything. And for those of you that were in business during the last recession, because this is not a recession, by the way, but I'm just using that as an example. You really do. You have to refigure out your cost of leads, your cost of staff, all of those things. So it's going to feel like we're in a year of uncertainty this year. But hopefully today I'm going to give you some good tips on how to push through that. Jason Abrams said this week, and it was probably one of my biggest ahas. He said, in the absence of true leadership, people listen to whoever is the loudest. And if you think about it from our consumer perspective right now, who do you guys think is the loudest and what are they saying? Would love to hear a guess in the chat. Who do you think that they're listening to? And I'll give you a hint. It starts with an M. Yes, Grant Cardone. Media. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, the news. Yep, you guys are exactly right. Yeah, you are. Good guess on the actual people too. Josh said mom. They are, you guys. They're listening to the media and to the news. And what are they saying? Exactly what Stephanie said, doom and gloom, right? Interest rates are so high. Interest rates have skyrocketed. Home prices are dropping. It's exactly scare tactics. You are exactly right. So I want you to think about this quote and maybe even write this down or make a note. Because you are the leader, right? You're the expert. You are the real estate entrepreneur. And you have to be that to your clients now and this year more than you probably ever have been for most of you, for all of you that were not selling during the last recession. this is who you have to be. So this should be one of your first ahas on this Zoom. They need to hear from you, and they need to hear you the loudest, because if not, they're going to believe that they should never buy a house or sell a house for years to come, right? Like that's what they're going to think. Okay, so here's prediction number 2. And that is that we are not going to crash. Like, we're not going into a market crash. We will have stable home prices, I believe. I do believe that home sales will drop. Oh, yes. Let's read this from Josh, because he was in politics for many years. They said, if it bleeds, it leads. Yep. The reporters always wanted the juiciest stories because it sold papers and commercial space. So true. Yep. Spot on. Thank you for sharing that. So I do believe that I'm going to show you some statistics around this and some information, but I don't believe that home prices are going to go down. I think we're going to get into a balanced market, which most of us are already seeing, meaning that home sales will drop. And my prediction is going to be somewhere around 20%, maybe 30. That would be my highest prediction. But they're going to drop. However, I don't think home prices are going to plummet. So here's a couple of stats and points for you guys to have. 2020, there were 5.6 million homes sold. 2021, there were 6.1 million. 2022, this is why, just so you guys know, I planned this for today, the 26th, because NAR drops their stats, they said, on the 25th of January. And I cannot find the exact number from them yet. Still, even this morning I looked. So approximately 5.2 million in 2022, but hopefully any day that number will come out. So a couple of points. How many homes sold last year total in your market? You have to know this. That was one of my biggest takeaways from Jason. Every one of you should be able to know. And he said something so great. He said, we all pay our MLSs, right? So depending on what value we get from them, but we might need to all pick up the phone and call them today and tomorrow and get the exact number so that we truly know exactly how many homes sold in our market. And then, even though, if we go back to this, even though we know that home sales are going to drop, point number 2 is so good. Just because there are less opportunities does not mean your opportunity is less. And for me, that was another huge aha from Jason. So just because there's going to be less homes to sell doesn't mean that your opportunity is less. We have to go get it. Real estate average, which most of us know this, and if not, that's okay. Now you do. It's appreciation average is about 4% annually, and that's pretty steady. Just over the years, those are the trend lines in real estate. The stock market typically averages out about 9, but you just need to know they're either, many of you, if you know stocks, I don't, but are either really, really low or really, really high. So that 9% ends up being the average of that. So Jason shared with us, you really just have to choose which one you want to bet on. And statistically, real estate over the years has been the safer bet. And I think that's something really great for us to pass on to our clients and know that, right? As a local market expert, inflation is still hovering around 7%, which obviously is higher. But here's the point that I wanted to make on this. And this is another thing that this is great information for you to be sharing with your clients. When you don't have an asset, meaning you don't own your home or you don't own something, right? Inflation is a bigger problem. When you have assets, it's not as big of a problem. I mean, it still stinks, and none of us want to pay what we're paying for gas and eggs right now. However, when you don't have any assets, inflation is a big problem. And that was a huge aha that I had from Jason. And then another point on the market update right now, well-priced homes are still averaging less than 10 days on the market. So things are still selling, right? I mean, it's going to be, and this is so funny. I was just talking about this with somebody at the Jason Abrams event. Some of you will know this, but the ones who said yes, like it was nothing to have a house on the market for 3 or 4 or 5 months. And we really might have to get back to, or those of you that are newer, understanding like what that means and how to have conversations with sellers. Yeah, Stephanie, 6 months. Yep. Because that's what's going to be it. That's an average market. What we've been in has not been the norm. And so we just need to make sure that we understand that. So this came straight from NAR, and this was in the chief economist's numbers that they shared around home price, just around it basically not being a crash. But some of these are really good things for you guys to see. So during the last housing cycle versus the current housing cycle, so there were 8 million job cuts. Now currently there are none. You can see there were number of payroll jobs, W-2s, basically total jobs. I mean, there are more jobs now than there were then. Subprime loans, you can see they were very prevalent then. There's virtually none now. 5-year cumulative to new home construction before crash. You can see the difference there. Inventory on market, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. We definitely have less inventory on the market. I mean, that is very true. This is these last two are huge if for people who thought that we were going to be crashing. So then during the last housing cycle, mortgage delinquencies were at 10%. Now they're at 3.6. Homes in foreclosure, 4.6%. We're less than 1% in homes in foreclosure right now. So that's just the difference, so that you can see that if anybody out there is feeling like, oh my gosh, we're doing a repeat of 07, 08, like, no, we are not doing a repeat of 07 and 08. So you need to make sure that your clients are aware of that. This I just thought was good information, to be honest. This is just sales by price range across the United States. So 44% of the homes sold are still between the 250 and 500,000 mark for 2022. The next gap is actually the lower price point, 24%, which kind of shocked me because I felt like everything has been so up. Have you guys felt like that? I mean, I felt like, so that kind of shocked me. And then 16% from 500,000 to 750. And then you can see the differences from there. Now, obviously, this is going to be major geographic, but this is just the average for the United States across as a whole. Many of you know that over the last several years, Austin and Salt Lake City have been like the it cities that people have moved to. So that's, yeah, Michelle said hardly see anything under 100 in Cincy. Yeah, totally true for most of our markets, definitely. So they did come out with, so this is one thing, this is not, I don't know that any of you guys have, some of you may be on from these areas. I mean, I was happy to see Charleston's number 6 on the list, but these were the top 10 markets to watch. I wanted to show you these because if you guys have family, friends, acquaintances, anybody, I want you to think referrals when you see this, if you are not in one of these areas, because these areas, there are always going to be areas that are protected. I mean, these areas, they might not see any price drops in 2023. They might not see home sales go down in 2023. So when you're thinking about, it's all about forecasting, which is what this says. But NAR is forecasting 4.78 million. So if we take, say, the 5.2 that I think will probably end up around for 2022, clearly you can see that we're going to see a drop, but stable prices. So this is just good information for you guys to think about. I wanted to share this again, just mainly for referral purposes on this. So prediction number 3, mine is that rates will likely, that should say hover, not over, but they'll likely end up, I think, flattening out, but somewhere between 6 and 7. I mean, it would be great if they were a little less than 6, but I'm going to say we're going to go between 6 and 7. And here's some stats to pull it to, or that I pulled to share with you guys. You can see from Q1 in 2019 all the way through the red are predictions from NAR. Okay, right? So you can see in Q4 of last year, we were all the way up to 7, almost right at 7. They've come down a little bit. But honestly, until inflation really gets corrected, they're not going to come down. They're going to keep them up because it's the only way to do it is to keep the rates. Where Jason said something fascinating. He said, oh man, let me see if I can find it in my book. He said something, if any of you are on that were there, you might remember, but he said something about, where are they? Dang it. Hold on. He said something about we're in a, I may have it. Actually, you know what? I think I have it on here. Let me keep going. Because I think I typed it in here. This is also from NAR, just showing further decline in mortgage rates are possible. It's all about the spread with the 10-year treasury and that narrowing. So, I mean, you can see that if you look back, truly, I mean, look, they were at 10 in 1990. So you can kind of see the difference in the spread. So that's why I'm going to predict somewhere between 6 and 7. And I'm going to cross my fingers that we're between 5 and 6. But it'll be interesting to watch it play out. So this is the slide right here that you guys need to have, and you need to be sharing it, and you need to be carrying it with you. Like every one of you should have this. Well, don't print and laminate it yet, because in February at the Keller Williams Family Reunion Convention, we will get the new updated one, and I will make sure and give that to everybody. But for right now, this is the one that we have. Yeah, this slide is life. Totally agree. So this just shows you the historical average and what number.
Dana,
yes.
Is it related to that? He said that buyers wanted a rate of 3%. Was that
Yep.
what you're getting at? And he
Yeah,
said,
but
based on this chart, he said it will probably happen once more in your lifetime.
you're exactly
Something
right,
like
Josh.
that.
And I have that on the slides, but he called it something. Oh, I found it. He said we're in an interest rate driven shift in the market. Like that's the kind of shift that we're in right now, is an interest rate driven shift. And if you look, you're exactly right, Josh. If you look on here, the historical average from 1972 to 2021, what is it? The yellow line. Do you guys see it? 7.8%. I mean, that's the historical average for the last however many years that is, a lot of years. And then you can see obviously from 90 to 2021, it still was 5.97. So it came down. That's why in my mind, I'm kind of predicting that we'll end somewhere between 6 and 7 and flatten out for the next probably year, maybe 2 years. But this is the slide that you guys need to be having. And as soon as we get it at, thank you, Michelle, 50 years. Yeah, I can only do 3% of any number in my head. They projected for 2022 a 5.4% was the average. So we'll see if that ends up being that. And then Jason said, this is the slide. Yes, Patty, Adam did give me a laminating machine for Christmas. So I'm pumped to laminate on my own now. This slide is the slide that hurts, is what Jason said. And again, we'll be getting updates of these next month. So I'll make sure that I get them to you guys. But November of 2022, we were at a 7.1. So here's what I want you guys to remember though. And this is why no matter what it ends up being, we just have to give perspective. Like you just have to, everybody needs to have the perspective of this slide, because if they are just listening to the news and the media, they're thinking that rates are the highest that they've ever been in forever, and that there's no reason why they would want to buy a house right now, right? But really, that's just not the case. They just don't have the perspective that we have, and that's what we have to help our clients with, to be the local experts. Oh, I did have one more, and this is not clear because I took it from the book, but it's the best pick I could get. But this is only new purchases. This is not refinances. So just for you guys to see, this is mortgage applications versus actual rates. And this just shows you that the rates do matter. And the question I want you to ask yourself here is, how many touches are you guys currently doing to your database talking about interest rates and talking about the fact that giving them perspective, I guess, because we can see very clearly over the last several years, when rates go up or down a little bit, we see a big change in the market. It does change, right? So if you can see, yeah, Josh said it best in the chat. Yeah, you can see. So on here, the yellow line, you guys, or yellow orangish line, that's mortgage applications, right? So that's the applications. The kind of blue one are the rates. So you can see, if you look at January, we'll go back to January 2021, in between 2021 and 2022. As the rates started to climb, look at where the applications went to, the orange line or yellow line. I mean, as soon as the rates started to go up, the apps were like all the way down. So there is a correlation. But here's the thing that you need to remember. And people say this all the time, and it's so true. It's kind of silly, but it's true. Like they need to, what is it? Date the rate, marry the house and date the rate, or something like that. Am I saying it right? I keep hearing that. But said a better way, buyers just care about their monthly payment. So that's what we need to be focusing on, is how to get them to the monthly payment that they want. Don't have them focus on the rate. Just get them to focus on what the payment is, because that's what they care about. So here's a couple of just points around this. Here's where this is the slide I knew I had it in here somewhere. We're in an interest rate driven shift in the market. I mean, that's truly what it is. Consumers don't know this though, and that's why they're scared and they're panicking, because they're listening to the media and to the news. The average buyer wants to know when they'll be at 3% again. And Josh, you said it also. And truly the answer is never. And really never in our lifetimes, ever will we be at 3% again. And then someone asked a great question, and I love this. Just know it takes on average Americans to equal back out to the way that they think about a year. So it's going to take 2023 for them to level out. Okay, we're not at 3% interest rate. I'm not going to get a 3% interest rate. Like, we're never going to get a 3% interest rate. And then they're going to level back out, and they're going to realize that the rates that we're going to have are the normal rates. And that's truly why I think I started with 2023 saying, like, it's going to hurt a little bit this year, but 2024 is predicted really to be a strong rebound. And I don't have that as a prediction, but I do believe that. Yeah, Karen, that's so true too. She said it's also forcing the lenders to market to buyers and offer deals with the low mortgage application rate. Yep, you're exactly right. Exactly right. So these are my predictions more for you guys, these last two as real estate agents. And prediction number 4 is sellers will be tougher than what we're used to. And some of you may already be feeling this, but they're going to be tougher. So us as realtors, we have to master our seller conversations, and we have to nail the appointment. And I don't know if you guys would agree or disagree with me on this next point. However, most of the sellers who called you over the last 2 or 3 years, they probably only called you. You were probably the only person that went and you didn't really interview for a listing. I would love to know how many of you actually even used a listing presentation during the last 3 years. Yeah, probably a lot of you are shaking your heads no. Probably none of you, right? You showed up and you took the listing because you knew them, or they weren't interviewing anybody else. And truly, all we really even had to do were the 3, is it the 3 Ps? Yeah, let me see if I can remember it. Put it on the MLS, put a sign in the yard, and pray it sells. They used to say that was like the 3 Ps of real estate, right? Really, we didn't even have to do the 3 Ps to get listings to sell over the last 3 years. I mean, all you had to do is tell somebody that it was coming on the market and it was gone. So things are changing, and we're going to have tougher conversations with sellers. So my thoughts on this, and this was a big eye opener for me too. And I've known this, but I just needed the refresher when I heard Jason say it. Don't be scared of the days on the market. We actually want more days on the market as realtors, and we want them because that gives us the opportunity to run an effective lead generation plan and to market our house so that we can get more. Many of you will remember what we used to say: for every listing, every house that you listed, you should get at least 1 to 2 other listings from that listing and up to 3 buyers from sign calls, online marketing, farming in the neighborhood, all those things. Would you guys agree, yes or no, that over the last 3 years, we haven't been able to do any of that crap. We haven't had the time. It's sold before we even got a sign in the yard. So as an agent who wants to thrive during a more balanced market, trust me when I tell you that days on market are good. We want that, and you want it if you're going to take advantage. So you need to run an effective lead generation plan and marketing campaign so that when you go list that listing, you can go pick up 1 or 2 in the neighborhood because they'll see how great you listed the house, how great it looks online, how you mailed something to them to let them know that you just listed their neighbor's house if they have a family member looking to be nearby. You got a great marketing campaign. You're running a mega agent open house on the weekends, and we're back to like, guys, like we're gonna need to go get balloons again and the flags and all this stuff. And I think that's going to be a good thing. Like that's going to give you the opportunity to go take market share. And then I loved what Jason said. There's only 2 ways to sell something. You're either solving a problem or you're presenting an opportunity. So I believe we've got to go back to getting really good at asking questions. And we're going to talk a little bit about these objections, because you're going to see that people are going to have these pretty much main 3 objections as we're moving into next year. I'm going to give you a little bit more notes on it than just these 3 that I have. Hold on 1 second, written down in here somewhere. But you're going to hear most of these over and over and over again. And so when we talk about, I'll tell you one thing too, while I'm trying to find this, that I think is going to be really important. I know you guys aren't going to like this when I say this, but we've got to get back to script practice. I mean, we got to get back to, like, I had a script partner for almost 4.5 years, actually. At one point, I had a little group of us actually that were all script partners together, but we've got to get back to that, because you guys are going to have to know how to overcome these objections. That's the whole purpose of having scripts. Oh, perfect. Antoinette said they're having a workshop this weekend. That's so great, because you got to know what to say when you come against these objections. The first one is, why would I trade a low interest rate for a high interest rate? This is where you have to get really great at asking questions, because here's the deal with this one. You got to have a human emotional conversation with them at this point. You got to figure out the why. The only way to get around why would I trade a low interest rate for a high interest rate is the why. I really want my kids to be in this certain school district. We're having another baby and we don't have a bedroom for them. We're moving because we're getting relocated. I just came in, to an inheritance, and I need to spend the money to do tax purposes. So we got to buy something. I mean, we got to figure out the why. because he said this, and this is so, this made me laugh because I'm actually looking to purchase another vehicle right now. And he said, people, you don't walk on a lot unless you're interested in buying a car. I mean, and really think about it, like that's true, right? I mean, the only time you're walking on a car lot is if you're interested in buying a car. So same with the house, with our consumers or our clients, when it comes to the housing industry, there's a why. If they're at some point in time raising their hand, wondering about another property or wondering what they could get for their house, there is a why somewhere. You have to find it. And Jason also said, and I thought this was really great, he said, your home is different than your stock portfolio. People are more emotionally connected to their houses, right? And so we just got to figure out what the why is. And once you get to that point, they will they'll forget the low interest. You'll overcome that objection. Josh, I love that Josh just posted this in the chat. This is one of the best books I've ever read. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Linda and I interviewed him on our podcast. It was so good. I don't know what episode it was, but I think you can just go to our podcast, Everything Life in Real Estate, and search Chris Voss or something, and you'll find it. But it is now is the time 100% to understand your negotiation skills. The second one is, should I wait to buy because what I could buy today will be worth less than tomorrow? And here's what he said. Jason said, and I thought this is so great. It only matters when you buy and sell. It doesn't matter tomorrow. That tomorrow doesn't matter. It just matters when you buy and when you sell, right? And so the thing about this one is, he said, good homes and the right properties are still selling. Find a home that you love and make sure that the price is comfortable. Bottom line, that's it. I mean, it doesn't matter about tomorrow. When you find something that you love, I remember I used to always say to people, I know that you looked at it. I know that you're liking it. If you woke up tomorrow and you found out that it was pending, would you just want to puke? And if the answer is yes, don't wait for tomorrow, right? I mean, like, it doesn't matter what market you're in. That's just common sense. That's just a moving on emotion. Oh, perfect. Thanks for posting that link in there. You guys are so great in the chat. And then the third one is interest rates are too high. And honestly, we already talked about that. And the only thing you can do with that, that's why everybody should have that sheet, the annual interest rates, print it out, have it with you all the time. Anytime you get that objection, if you're on the phone, text them the picture. Like, you should have that picture in your phone favorited, so that anytime you're talking to a client and their objection is the interest rates are too high, all you're doing is giving them perspective, and you're pulling out that chart and you're sharing it with them. And that's it. I mean, that's the thing. So you've got to really understand these objections. And then lastly, my fifth prediction is that more agents will decide to do this together, or they're going to get out of the business. And I don't say this to be negative. I say this because I'm already seeing it, to be honest. I have conversations with real estate agents all day, every day, 7 days a week, I can promise you. And a lot of the questions and thoughts that I'm getting right now are, should I partner with so-and-so? We're thinking of combining our teams. I'm not sure if I want to do this anymore. It's a lot. Should I join an expansion team? Should I merge my team? Like, should I start a team? Should we partner with another individual agent who we're like-minded with? These are the conversations that a lot of agents are having right now. And I do think that we'll see that more in 2023. People are either going to decide to do it together or they're going to get out of business. And I don't want you guys to take that as a negative. I want you to take it as a positive, because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Oh, Jill, actually, I might have seen that. The two largest mega teams in Beverly Hills just joined up and joined forces. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's happening all over the country. Gary Keller has said this forever, and Jason reminded me of it this week, but you have three options when you're a real estate agent. When you become a real estate entrepreneur and you get in this business and you pass your test, you have three options. You can make money selling houses, which is pretty much every single person on here. You can build a business around your sales career, meaning what? You can sell it. You can make it passive to you. You can make other ancillaries off of it, right? You can build a business around it. Or you can invest in real estate. And I really think that we have to think about those three things, because you guys, the ones that are the agents that I'm having conversations with and that Linda McKissick has been having conversations with, telling me about, are ones that are just doing number one. They're stuck in number one, and they're tired. I mean, they're worn out, to be honest, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. And so we've got to think about truly building a business around our career and then how we can invest in real estate. I'm laughing. I just saw Kyle Shaw. I just saw you. And that's where I sit every time I do a Zoom in that office. So I'm like, oh, that's what that background looks like. Looks great. So here's a couple more points to note on that. He or she who controls the leads controls the market. This is why, you guys, I've been pressing you about 72 sold. Thank you to those of you that were on the Zoom today. If you missed it and you want it, I have the recording. Just shoot me an email and I'll send it to you, because we got to get more leads in 2023. Remember the quote, just because there's less opportunity doesn't mean your opportunity is less, right? We have to get more leads. Agents, and really this is true, agents who have not been generating, or they've not been used to generating leads at a really high level, they're going to get out of they're going to be the ones that are going to raise their hand and say, this is too hard, I can't do this, like I got to get out, right? Or I want to get out, or I want to do something else. Leads give you more money and leverage gives you more time. And I really want you guys to think about that. We've got to be focused on getting leads. I'm working very hard on a lot of stuff right now to try to bring more leads to agents in my market centers this year. And it's a lot, but I'm doing it because I don't think we have a choice. I think everybody's going to need more leads. The client experience, also known as the client promise, it's the game changer in a balanced market. You guys have, and I've preached this for like 6 years, so I know some of you are super sick of hearing me talk about this, but like you've got to provide a great experience. It can't just be they got satisfied service anymore. Like, you need to show up with Papa John's pizzas when their moving trucks are there. You need to have coloring books and Play-Doh for their kids when you're out showing houses and they've got their kids with them. You need to send them a $2 bill with a card when you see that their kid lost a tooth on Facebook. Like, you have got to really up your game on the client experience and the promise. It's going to be what sets agents apart in 2023. I know that it is. And I do believe that the ones that don't will lose market share. Just remember that technology is also leverage. While tools and people are leverage also, we are in a digitally based world. We used to be in a physically based, digitally enhanced world. Over the last 4 years, we have flip-flopped that. We are now in a digitally based, physically enhanced world. So we've got to be able to get with the technology. I believe other agents that will opt out in 2023 are ones that they won't adopt to the technology. They just won't do it. And really, this was an interesting thing that Jason showed to us, but like, he gave some examples and I put them here. For those of you that don't like technology, or it's slow for you to make a change in technology, I understand. I'm one of the ones that does not do the iPhone update. I wait until they say you have to do it or your phone doesn't work anymore, because I hate my phone changing. However, he gave some really great examples. For one, like planes. Jason said, I flew here today to Cincinnati. I didn't row here on a, and I'm like, that's a really great point. Hair dryers, he said, who used a hair dryer this morning, right? Aren't you thankful that you used it instead of standing outside and letting the wind blow through your hair? Phones, we used to write messages on we used to etch them into, we didn't, but somebody else did, etch them into stones. And now we have these great phones. So like, we all adopt to technology at some point, whether we want to or not. But we just have to really think about that. And then lastly, your database is gold. And that's what I want to spend the last couple minutes, really talking to you guys about. It's your money, it's the livelihood. And you have to get to use a CRM. You have to have your database. Like, it's not an option anymore. It's just not an option if to not have one. And like Jason said, whether it's on an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's in Command, whether you're buying something, whatever it is, you just have to do it. You got to know your top 3 lead sources, and you need to have at least 201 contacts in your database on a touch plan. And those are the numbers. So these came straight from the book. So some of you that were there saw this. For those of you that weren't there, I wanted to share it with you. I don't even know if I'm allowed to, but I did. Hopefully I won't get in trouble. But this was great. I loved what Jason said on this, and the book printed these backwards. So you need to define what you do on the left side. These are all the things that you do to run your business. On the right side, these are all the things that you do to grow your business. And so Jason challenged everybody in the room to circle the things that you actually do to grow your business. And then he said, think about this. What do you actually enjoy more, growing it or running it? And you really need to be honest, because that's where you're going to figure out where you need the most leverage. Do you like more of the day-to-day running of the stuff and not as much of the growing, and so you need to hire somebody to help you grow? Or do you love the growing stuff, so you really need somebody in operations to help you with the running? That's how you're going to figure out your leverage. But more importantly than that, this is pretty eye-opening. If you look at these 19 things on the right and you were to circle the ones that you did last year to help you grow your business, a lot of you may only have one or two to circle, if any, because last year, I mean, we fogged a mirror and we sold a house. So we got to really think about getting back to the things that are going to help us grow our business. And then here's the how. And here's 34 ways that he gave that you can figure out the how of the growing. And I think this is so great. Like, these are just great examples. Obviously, you're not going to do all 34, but you're going to do a majority of them. And you might need to run through and just do a quick refresher on the hows of growing. This page was really eye-opening for me. If you are not using Command or you're not with Keller Williams, it's totally fine. Just skip over this. Although if you're not using Command, and I would encourage you to revisit it because it is way, way, way better now. But if you look at this, here's at the top, you have your contact, and then you have 3 lead sources. Every one of you on the Zoom right now should know what your top 3 lead sources were from last year. You've got to go back. If you don't know them, go back to every transaction that you did last year and say where it came from. Write it on a piece of paper or on an Excel spreadsheet, but you've got to know your top 3 lead sources. Hopefully everybody has their sphere of influence, their SOI, in one of their top 3. If not, your number 1 would be ideal, but you've got to know your top 3. So then the contact comes in, and they become a contact in Command or in your CRM. Then you're adding tags to them, you're creating custom fields, because here's the key part on this one. Everybody is either an immediate contact or they're an eventual. If they're an immediate, right, they're looking to buy or sell quick. I mean, I'm going to say within the next 90 days. That would be how I would classify it. Some of you may have a different time frame, but typically for me, it's 90 days. And if they're not, then they're an eventual person. So if they're an immediate, you're treating them different than if they're an eventual. You're setting and forgetting. Like, you're putting them on a smart plan. You're getting them on a drip campaign, and they're rolling. This was really eye-opening to me too, and I love this. Buyers, all they want are property searches. Many of you who've done this for a while know that, right? They just want houses sent. I still we bought 2 years ago in Charleston, and I'm still on the property search with our agent here. And I look at everyone that I get just because I'm anxious to see and interested to see what they're doing. And thank you, Kyle Shaw, for sending me my neighborhood nurture every month. I enjoy getting it in Charleston. I love it. And then sellers, they want monthly neighborhood nurtures. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Those are both done through Command now. If you don't know how to do them, and you're with KW right now, if you don't know how to do that, or you don't have your buyers and your sellers on property searches inside of Command and your sellers on neighborhood nurtures, please get with your tech director. If you're in our offices, get with Jim Vickers ASAP. Like, put that on your to-do list, because I promise you it will pay off. And then after that, you're reaching out and you're calling the eventual people every quarter. The others you're reaching out to and you're communicating with on a more consistent daily basis. But if you guys can, I mean, I just think about how there's so many missed opportunities with this. If you truly have all of your people and you've got them tagged buyer or seller, and you've got them on a property search and you've got them on a neighborhood nurture, I promise you that when the time is right, they will choose you. Like, you will gain the market share. And also, here's the scary negative side of that. If you don't have them on there, I promise you somebody else is going to this year. So it just is it going to be you or is it going to be somebody else? And my hope for each of you is that it's you. We don't have time, unfortunately, to go through this list. However, if you were not at the Jason Abrams event, I wanted to make sure that I shared this with you. Out of Gary's top 200, so the top 200 agents by GCI inside of Keller Williams in 2022, these were the 30 touches that they had the highest rate of return on. And there are some really great ideas in here. And I wish we kind of had time. Some of them, will be things that you guys have done before. Santa pictures, Easter egg, movie nights. Some of these are totally different ones. They're buying window cleaning companies. They're going to window cleaning companies and saying, if I have you clean, 50 houses windows, will you do every one of them for $100 a pop? And they're calling their clients and saying, it's spring because you're a client of mine. Some of you will remember that. That's been our phrase for like the last 3 years. Because you're a client of mine, blank. I'm having your windows cleaned for spring, and they'll be there the week of such and such, such and such. Like, do you think that those clients are using anybody else? Probably not. The likelihood that they are is slim to none. These top 200 agents are hiring the shredding companies. They're doing neighborhood shredding parties. They're hiring junk removal companies to come out. They're buying the leaf bags. Oh, is this the PDF in the chat? Oh my gosh. I don't know how you got this, but thank you so much, because I was told that we couldn't get this until after family reunion. Okay, you guys have much better PDF in the chat than my screenshot of a picture of a book. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. That is awesome. So all of this is in there. You guys can go and grab it. But these to me are like, these are some powerful touches, right? These are the things that you need to focus on. I wanted to just give you, well, let me ask it in a question before I go to that. Do you guys like ideas of things that, like, do you struggle that you have coming up with ideas of ways to touch your database? Do you like it when I give you ideas? Because if so, I'm going to keep doing this every single time. Yes. Okay. A couple of you said yes. Thank you. So I wanted to give you a few ideas, and I wanted to give you, lots of you said yes. Perfect. Some people to go follow, to watch, that I think are doing a really great job. One of the things that people love every year that I get asked more than anything are, what are your favorite books? So a few years ago, I started doing this, my top 10 book list for the year. So this is mine for 2023. For any of you that haven't seen it, this is it. So here you go. But the reason why I wanted to share this with you is because not only do I send this to, like, I don't know, the 4,000 real estate agents that have attended our trainings that I email. Most of you get those emails. We send it to our clients, to our entire database, to everything. And the first time ever this week, I had the best feeling, because Milton, I don't know if he's on or not, but he was in Cincinnati. He's an agent out of Louisville. And I love Milton so much. He's a great agent. We used to refer to him all the time before we were selling in Louisville. He came up to me at the event and he said, "Thank you so much for sending me your book list. I just want to tell you that I ripped off and duplicated it. I put my top 10 audiobooks and I sent them to everybody in my database. So here's the email, just so you guys can see examples of that." And how great is this, right? It's not like a, hey, here's like some real estate stat that you may or may not want to know this week. This was him providing value. And all he did was just rip off and duplicate mine, put his on there, send it out to his people, asked for some YouTube subscribers, said how they can follow him on social media. But he said he's getting the best feedback because it's something different, right? People were responding to this and opening it and, like, responding, saying, "Thank you so much. I was looking for a new book to read," or whatever. So I just want to encourage you guys, like, when you see stuff or anything that I share, a lot of the reason why I do it is so it gives you guys ideas. But take this stuff and do it. I mean, this is a great touch for you guys to send to your clients. That would be so helpful for them. The next slide I have on here, I know we talk about this, but you guys, video is it. And so 3 people that I highly recommend you following: Nathan Klein, he's an agent in our Columbus office. His reels are off the charts. He is doing so good. I've messaged him today. I'm like, I need you to sit on one of our panels coming up, because he's just crushing it with his reels. But he's doing such a great job. The second one is the Euler Hines group. Hold on, sorry, I'm gonna get out of your way. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to navigate around here. Second one are my friends, the Euler Hines group, and they are in Cincinnati. Some of you will know them. They actually did a reel about their top 5 predictions for what's going to happen as the #1 agent in their market, in their area. Highly recommend you guys going and checking out their stuff. And then many of you may know Danny Barron, who's also a really good friend of mine in Cincinnati. He just had a client appreciation event. We've had him on before. We're going to have him again on another panel coming up in the next quarter. He just had a client appreciation event. You guys, he had 2,000 people show up. This was just last week. 2,000 people showed up at his client event. He had a well-known comedian. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm totally blanking on it. And he sent out, because you're a client of mine or because you're a friend of mine, you're invited to this comedy night in Cincinnati. Trey Kennedy. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, I was like right on the tip of my tongue. He had Trey Kennedy come. He had 2,000 people show up. and he told the story. And this is the difference maker. Like, I mean, do you think his clients are using anybody else besides him? Probably not. I'm going to be shocked if they are, because he is high level providing value to his clients. So one, make sure that you're like, if you're just looking for ideas, I mean, make sure that you're following. All of them are really great. I'm so proud of Mike Schoonover. He's in our Southern Indiana office. He sends out these economic charts to his clients. You guys, this is such good information. He is interpreting the market. He's not just passing it along saying, look at this chart, because our clients, they don't even know what DOM stands for. Honestly, if we're being honest, they don't. They have no idea. You can't just pass it. Don't be just a passer of the information. You have to interpret it for them and explain to them what it means. So here's what Mike does. He says, here's the charts I collected. Here are the positives. Here are the negatives. And here's what that looks like. So here's a great example of that. And then lastly, I always shout out Jonathan Crompton because he just does so good. He's an agent in Charleston, South Carolina. He just sent the best email, you guys. I just got this email yesterday, as you can see at the top, because I screenshotted it this morning to add it. What's a 2-1 buy down? One of the best things that our clients can understand and take advantage of right now. But if they're hearing that, they don't know what that means. So what a great idea for him to actually go and interpret for his people what a 2-1 buy down is. He did a quick little 58-second video. He broke it down in text. He gave them a chart to look at. He's hitting all the profiles. People who won't read, but they'll watch the video. People who won't watch the video, but they want the stat. People who want to look at a chart, right? He's hitting all of them, and he's interpreting the market for them. And I just think that is such a great, it's what everybody should be doing. So I feel like I talked a lot. Sorry, really fast too. But I was afraid I wouldn't get through it all, but I actually finished a little early, which is nice. So I want to share these with you because I truly believe that these are the 5 things that you guys need to focus on and really be looking at. If you're interested in figuring out how you can get more time, or if you're just in like a learning day today, 2 of the smartest people I know with their time and their planning, Liz Henry and Brian Leverett, both are coaches. Brian's coaching actually several of our leaders right now too, but at 2:30 today on this same link, they're going to be going over a 135 and a 411. So you can hop on and time block for that. And then I really wanted to end on a positive note. Hopefully you got more positive today than you did negative. However, things get harder before you level up. So just know that. And I really believe that that's the truth. So if you're looking at 2023 and you're like, man, okay, I know this year is going to be harder. Just know that, right? Like we're leveling up. So you guys can go and crush it in 2024. And it is going to get a little bit harder before that, but that's okay. If you just do the things that you know that you need to do, you're totally going to get through it and you're totally going to do it. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on. The fact that you're on means that you are serious about your business, and anything that I can ever do to help, you just let me know. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I'm glad it was valuable, Patty. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And if you need anything from this slide, just shoot me an email and I'll send it to you guys. Thanks, Mike Green. Good to see you being on. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.